welcome back. It's 3 p.m. in Athens. You're listening to Radiobubble. This is the rbnews International show. I'm Irate Greek, and with me in the studio is Michalis Nevradakis from Dialogos Radio. And we're talking, like everybody else in Greece, I guess, right now, about the fact that the Greek government is trying to shut down the national broadcaster ERT. Let's talk a little bit now about DGA. We spoke, as I said earlier, with a senior ERT technician, whose name is Nikos Michalitsis, who explained to us that right now a consultation is going on for the licensing of network providers, meaning of those who will have to install transmitters during the transition to digital television. The consultation is underway now. The tendering process will be announced on 30 June. And by September, some company, will become officially the network provider, the digital network provider in Greece. Let's listen to how Mr. Michalitsis describes this call for expressions of interest.
Αυτός ο διαγωνισμός, κατά τη γνώμη μου, έχει πάρα πολλές φωτογραφικές διατάξεις με στόχο να αυτός που θα αποτελέσει...
This call for expressions of interest, in my opinion, includes many elements that are quote-unquote photographic, with a goal to ensure that the winning bid is submitted by a specific company, which is a consortium of content providers, meaning TV station. This is what we call in Greek, Yannis treats himself to a drink. The owners of the 6 largest TV stations, who are content providers, create a consortium and baptize themselves network providers. In other words, they will be the ones giving frequencies to content providers, meaning to themselves. This is unacceptable by international standards because you have a cooperation between 2 entities that could, if nothing else, control the entire field of television. This is also forbidden under Greek law, under Law 3592 of 2007, that defined the first phase of digital transition and said that the content provider cannot be a network provider. But there was this provision about a maximum threshold of shares you could hold, so they created this consortium where each one's percentage of shares was below that threshold. And that's how a coalition of Greece's 6 largest TV owners, who have been denounced by prime ministers as corrupt, as pimps, after they had already succeeded in obtaining frequencies without paying anything at the time of analog frequencies, now they're getting ready to take the frequencies for digital television, all the frequencies, as a monopoly.
Όταν υπήρχαν οι αναλογικές συχνότητες, τώρα θα ετοιμαστούν να μπορέσουν να πάρουν και τις ψηφιακής τηλεόρασης, όλες τις συχνότητες μονοπωλιακά.
So just to clarify on what Mr. Michalitsis means by photographic elements, this is a very nice Greek expression for which I'm not aware that there is an accurate translation of it.
I mean, it would be photographic law. I mean, we could really explain what it means. It's a law that sort of is a snapshot in time that is sort of intended to capture a particular situation that exists at a particular time and to enshrine it into law, basically.
So in this call for proposals, the photographic elements that Mr. Michalitsis is talking about is the following facts. First, because TV stations in Greece de facto have no license to broadcast, no company that would like to compete to become the network provider would know its clients, because they wouldn't know if those clients would still be allowed to broadcast. The only company that's in a position to know its clients is DGA, because the clients of DGA are the 6 media groups constituting DGA. The second thing is that, according to Mr. Michalitsis still, the activity plan is unfeasible in the given time frame, which is only 1 year. It's unfeasible for anyone, but it's even more unfeasible for any other company than DGA that would need to come to Greece, establish itself, do recruitments, procurements, get licenses from urban planning for every transmitter they want to establish, and so on and so forth. So this means that because of the activity plan, no serious foreign company is going to compete for this. At the same time, there is a trick to exclude Greek companies. Specifically, one of the requirements to be able to compete is not only to have previous experience with digital broadcasting. An important element is that you should have experience with creating advertisements for digital TV. The only Greek company that has ever created an advertisement for digital TV is Digia. So, de facto, the criteria are made in such a way that the winning bid can only be Digia.
That's exactly what's going on, and that's exactly what we mean by a photographic law. They're taking advantage of the fact that right now Digia is the only company that happens to meet these really ridiculous criteria. So it's blatantly obvious that the law is written and structured in such a way to favor this one particular company. And as you mentioned, there's no interest in getting any foreign investors to come in. You know, the Samaras government loves to talk about attracting foreign investors, but this law is written to keep them out. And there's no interest in getting any other Greek company that wants to get involved in this market. And it parallels, again, what has been happening with broadcasting in Greece in the past 25 years. Because no licenses have really been given, and because the radio and TV stations are broadcasting under a different series of photographic laws, what that means in essence is that no new player can enter the market except by purchasing an existing station. And that goes back again to what we were saying about a free media. That doesn't exist, unfortunately.
Well, actually, according to Mr. Michalitsis, there is a bonus for Digia in the way the call for proposals is designed, and that has to do with the price that is asked of whoever will purchase the network rights.
Στις 4 που δίδονται, με έναν περίεργο συλλογισμό που δεν αποτελεί συλλογισμό αυτού που δημοπρατεί το φάσμα.
For the 4 digital packages that are up for grabs, there is this strange logic that is not the logic of the seller of a range of frequencies, but the logic of a buyer. It says that they must be sold as a monopoly. They must be sold all at once and not to more than one network provider. This rationale is the logic with which monopolies usually try to convince people that they should control the entire market. It goes, the more things I control, the cheaper the price. Because I can order in bulk, I can streamline maintenance, I already have spare parts, etc. This is the argument they put forth to say that they should give all the range of frequencies at once. But this is not the logic of the state, that wants, on the contrary, should want competition, so that it can earn as much revenue as possible from its clients, from its buyers. The state is acting here as if it were buying, whereas in reality it's auctioning something, it's selling. So this logic doesn't apply, because it will cause it losses.
Ενώ εδώ στη συγκεκριμένη περίπτωση είναι δημοπράτης, δηλαδή πουλάει κάτι το δημόσιο. Άρα δεν μπορεί να εφαρμόζεται μια τέτοια λογική που είναι εις βάρος του.
I mean, this is magic. Not only they're giving a monopoly to Digia, but they're giving it cheap.
They're giving it cheap, and again, this is a parallel of everything that's been happening in the past 25 years since private broadcasting officially began in Greece. The major stations have never paid for the rights to use the public airwaves. There's laws in place that claim that the station should be paying, but as always happens in Greece, unfortunately, a series of tropologies, of amendments is passed, which puts off the start of the time period where these stations have to begin paying for these frequencies. The latest amendment has delayed this payment until 2014, and probably by 2014 there'll be another amendment, and so on and so forth. So it's the same thing, the same story repeating itself over and over again, except that one can say arguably that they're becoming far more blatant now. Now they're pretty much giving a monopoly to this one company by law, by what they consider to be law anyway. So there's this expression in Greek, the masks have fallen, οι μάσκες έχουν πέσει. It's pretty obvious right now that who they're trying to favor, and it's pretty obvious that they're trying to favor these 5 or 6 major stations and the businessmen that operate these stations at the expense of everyone else.
And for Mr. Michalitsis still, this whole process will have consequences not only on the market, but obviously also on freedom of expression in Greece. And he thinks that it fits rather nicely with the closing down of ERT.
Ποιο είναι το σχέδιο τώρα και πώς συνδυάζεται αυτό με το κλείσιμο της ERT? εξασφαλίζοντας ότι για τα επόμενα 15 χρόνια.
So what's the plan? And how does that fit with shutting down ERT? By ensuring that for the next 15 years, those content providers who coincidentally all support bailout policies and austerity policies and have supported all the governments, every variety of them, that implemented these policies. They'll have control from now on as network providers on who can broadcast television. Even if a third party tried to broadcast, they'd be under their control because they'll be giving him a frequency. We saw an example this day. We saw a sample of this degrading situation. Channel 902, a TV station that belongs to a left-wing party, decided to retransmit the TV program produced by Free ERT right now. After a while, every time they tried to broadcast, not their own program, but ERT's program, DGA would go and throw this TV station off the air. This is a tragic incident that has no legal explanation. The network provider, meaning DGA, wants to have control over the contents broadcast by the content provider, who is paying DGA to transmit the content that they are supposed to choose on their own. So this type of censorship that was enforced by the network provider, in this case DGA, because DGA didn't like the idea of Channel 902 to be retransmitting the Free ERT program. This type of censorship will be enforced in 1,000 ways if DGA manages to control the entire field of television. This was the terrific plan of this government. That's how they're doing away with any annoying voices in the private sector. But they also needed to do away with the annoying voices that they were likely to exist, some voices that they were resisting in the public broadcaster. They achieved that by shutting down ERT. They dismissed all employees in a single day and create a new company where they will recruit their own people. People who are obedient from the start, people who will sign contracts with destroyed salaries, but who will say, at least we have a job, and who will not want, because they'll be afraid, to broadcast objective information.
Και δεν θα θέλουν, γιατί θα φοβούνται να βγάλουν αντικειμενική ενημέρωση.